What's up, sister? It's your girl Danielle, and welcome back to the Pretty Powerful Podcast.
We tend to write stories in our head or have stories written for us, right, in our head as we're growing up. And like, are you born an Enneagram type or is it something that's developed? And the answer is it's a little bit of both.
This is so, I say this so, and it's so annoying. I annoy myself every time. I'm like, I'm so excited, but I really am because, you know, I never thought that starting a podcast would be so much more for me. Like, I'm doing this for the love of other humans, but like, it's so much for me. Like, I love learning from all these incredible humans. So friends, welcome back to the podcast today. As I always say, you're in for a treat because I got Kim Merritt here in the house, ready to share all the goodness. She is just full of light and love, and her hair is just on point. I need your hair in my life. But a quick little thing, and I'm going to let Kim just kind of share about herself because she'll do it better than I can. But she's an Enneagram enthusiast, a certified Enneagram coach. She equips, empowers, and encourages you to live a life in alignment through the Enneagram tool. And that feels like so, I'm like, okay, sure, sister. All right, equip me, empower me, encourage me. Let's go. So,
Let's go.
sister, welcome to the show. How are you today? How are you feeling? Tell us a little bit about you, how you got here, and then we'll roll.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to get to be here. It's so funny. I have to tell you this story because like once upon a time I joined TikTok. And like, I think my first day, you popped up on my FYP page, like my very first day. And I was like, this girl is so fun. Like,
Well, thank you.
I mean, like immediately I was like, I'm going to be friends with her. Like,
Thank God.
I know, like, it's just so funny. It's so funny to look back and see how like different connections happen or whatever. And you have just, you've just been around. And like you said before, like, We've never chatted face to face or anything like that, and really just recently started getting connected and everything. But it's just it's such like a testament to like what you're doing and what I'm passionate about because like forever now, like your story will be like you showing up as yourself and you like teaching confidence and empowering people. Like that will always and forever be linked to my story and my power story. So like I think it's so cool to just like think back, like you never know, like all the little pieces that the universe is moving, for you. And sometimes it's like a full circle moment for me. So I think this is really fun.
It's so, oh my gosh, that's so good. I got like goosebumps. Like, this is so good. So, okay. So then tell us like why Enneagram? How did you get here? Tell us more about you. Like, what does life look like for you?
Oh my gosh, life looks different every day, but there's a few things that are super constant. I'm a military spouse, and so my husband is actually a firefighter in the Air Force. We have been all over the world, which is awesome. And right now we're currently in Bossier, Louisiana, which is like the northwest corner of Louisiana. It's pretty uneventful here, but I know. It's
like north, south, east, west. I'm like, we're powerful women, but I still got to do never eat soggy worms.
Right? Where? Yes, we're right by Texas is really where we are, but we're in Louisiana. It's an interesting spot. But so we've been in Japan, we've been in England, and now we're here until who knows when. So our life is military. Crazy. I homeschool my kids. I homeschool my daughter. She is 12. She's also a competitive gymnast, which is another thing that like hardcore had me like, super curious in like you and what you do, right? Body image and stuff when you are raising a daughter, like it's a different conversation now, than it was when we were kids and stuff. And so she's a competitive gymnast, like it's all she wants to do with her life. So we homeschool and she does that. And then I have he just turned four. So I feel like I have two only children. We have two kids at completely different developmental stages, like all the time. So it's kind of crazy. And I've been in social selling for about 11 years now. I love coffee. I love skincare. And I really I've loved what I do. I love non-toxic living. And helping women just, really be encouraged during the busy, crazy seasons of life. I think no matter like, no matter what your life looks like, if you are married, single, have kids, you're at home, you work, like, no matter what, like, we always wear so many hats, and we are always doing so many different things. And so, for such a long time, my big passion has been like practical self-care and encouragement for the busy woman, because that is something that like we all need. Right?
Yes, 100,000%.
Yes,
absolutely.
It's totally a thing. And so I fell in love with, when my husband was deployed about 2 years ago, almost. It's been, wow, that's crazy. I really, really fell in love with, like a skincare routine, and like something that sounds so basic, right? But like, I hated the message of like, you have to have a skincare routine because, you're a woman and you can't get old and you can't have wrinkles and you can't have sunspots. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think
I
so
feel
much
that.
like resistant, but I was like, I am changing the conversation about that, because this is something that I can do for myself. I listen to podcasts, I listen to music. I have really fallen in love with taking care of my skin, for me, not because someone tells me that I have to. So, that's just something that I really thoroughly enjoy, is taking care of my skin and helping other people fall in love with the self-care process, not washing their face because they can't get old.
Yeah. I love that. That's like a good quote. Like, don't wash your face just because you can't get old. But I love that you kind of turned it into this whole like self-care session for yourself. Like you said, like, I listen to podcasts, and it sounds like a process for you. It's not just like, okay, I'm doing this to change my skin. It's like, this is my me time. That is for me. I love that so much. And you've evolved, like you do all these things. You're homeschool, the gym, you got 2 kids and you got 2 not single kids. You said
they are single,
only children. They are single. 12
only children.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only children. Words, Danielle, words. But yeah, so you have all these things going on. And yet I know you have recently stepped into this, this amazing expert in the Enneagram. And I'm just going to keep it. Okay, let's keep it 100. I know the Enneagram, and I think I've taken the test and stuff to like figure out my numbers.
Right.
But that's as far as I went. Okay. So I'm just gonna be honest. I am so excited to have this conversation, for you to kind of dig in, and I'm just going to be soaking it all up. So tell us, like, first of all, why do you think it's important? Like, why do you think understanding the Enneagram is so valuable for women?
Oh my gosh. So many things. So I was introduced to the Enneagram probably about 2 years ago, but I spent a year not really doing much with it or learning a whole lot about it. It was very casual scrolling on Instagram, like, oh, here's something about the Enneagram. Cool. And it was about last year. After my husband had gotten home from deployment, we had like kind of leveled out, right? Like when he's deployed, it's like, okay, this is like survival mode, and trying to find like the little self-care moments and, taking care of myself moments, as I can through the craziness. And then when, things leveled out, and I just really felt like there was this strong, like, calling of, you need to pursue this. Like, you need to pursue this. And, I started diving into it, and it was actually so sweet. At Christmas time, my husband like bought me the course for Christmas, bought me the course, the certification and stuff like that, to go through and do at Christmas time. And so I really spent the last 9 months kind of, casually going through it. And then just had like some stuff in my personal life and my professional life kind of like really hiccup over the last 3 months. And it was like, it's time to really dig in. And the more I would dig in, the more it was like, everybody needs this tool in their life, because it can give you, I love the quote, your perspective is either your prison or your passport. And I think so good, right? I need to figure out who actually said that, because I mean, it's not me, but I live by it. And that's a huge thing that I love about the Enneagram, because it not only like, it's great for yourself to understand yourself, to have your own self-awareness, to understand, your own patterns and behaviors, because I think that we spend so long, I think so many people, women, men, everyone, we spend so long putting ourselves in a box right? And saying things like, this is just the way I am, or, it's my personality or this or that. But the Enneagram, what it does is it's not just about your traits or your behaviors or your characteristics, but it actually digs into your core motivations. And it's going to give you some amazing insight as to why you do the things that you do, why you do the things that you do, why you have this pattern, why you have this behavior, and why your perspective is this. And so it gives you a lot of insight to not just how you operate, but a complete understanding as to how other people operate differently. And so like relationship wise, it's amazing because you can, like, you and someone else, maybe like you and your spouse, right? Like you guys can be having the same conversation, but if you're two different Enneagram types, which you probably most likely are, you are like processing that information through different filters, right? So like the Enneagram, I always love to start with the triads, as or the centers of intelligence is what they call it. So it's when you're given information, you either process it instinctually through your head, through your heart, or through your gut. And depending on what your Enneagram type is, it's one of those three things. So, like for example, I am a 7, which the enthusiast. I am a type 7, and that means that I process everything through my head first. It doesn't mean that I don't use my instincts or I don't use my feelings, but like everything goes through my brain first before it goes through any other thinking center. Now, my husband is a type 2, which is a like heart feeling center. And so we can be having a conversation and we're filtering that same information through 2 completely different lenses. And so like you can imagine when it helps you like see eye to eye, as a parent, it helps me see where my child is processing information. And then just people that I work with, right? People that I'm engaging in conversation with, if you've ever thought to yourself, I want like, how do they see it that way? Or why is that, the way they think, or, something like that. It can all come back to that, like that processing, right? How they're perceiving that information. So, I mean, like, if you just want to barely scrape the surface on how the Enneagram can be beneficial and helpful, that alone has been a game changer for me, right? And so that is one huge aspect. But I think another thing too is we tend to write stories in our head, or have stories written for us, right, in our head, as we're growing up. And the Enneagram, it's not just something you're born with. Like, this is a big question I get asked all the time is the Enneagram, like, are you born an Enneagram type, or is it something that's developed? And the answer is it's a little bit of both. And so, even with kids and stuff, my daughter's 12, I have a good idea of where she's going to land. Yeah. And so I do tend to, really pay attention to that and parent in that direction with her specifically. But understanding like, I just totally like lost my train of thought.
Story of my life.
What just happened? Hold on.
No, you're good. Hey, sister, look, that is what we all start every conversation with. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. We have to wear all these hats. We do all these things. And then we're like, oh no, why did I forget something? It's like, because
I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it.
We just got to search around up there.
I know, right? I just get so excited. There's so many things I can talk about. Okay.
No, I love that. Okay.
I think I found it. I remember now. So understanding, that, the Enneagram, part of it, you are born with part of it. Like, it's almost like you have these certain traits and you have this certain perspective, right? Like this way that you're kind of taking information. But as you grow, your childhood experiences, and that perception is going to basically form your Enneagram type, which is made up of your core motivations, which is your core fear, your core strength, your core weakness, and then like a core message, kind of that, like that drive of what are you like always wanting to hear, or what are you always, seeking to hear, or learn, right? So we all have these perspectives and these stories that we get growing up, and it doesn't even have to be like trauma related, you know what I mean? But it can be, like for example, a child who sits in. Children have no perspective. We have no perspective when we're children, right? Like, you don't. And so, one perspective is, I'm having to sit in my room for 2 minutes because, I chucked a book at my mom's head. True story, happened to me yesterday.
Funny, not funny, but okay.
I know, I mean, it's funny now, but
Yeah.
it's a learning process.
Yes.
But like that that 2-minute perspective could be, I'm sitting in here for the rest of my life, right? Like I'm sitting in here forever. Nobody wants me. Right.
Yeah.
Whereas another individual could have that same experience and their perspective is just you wait until I bust out of here. Just you wait until my 2 minutes are over, and so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the Enneagram, it just, perspective is just huge, and I think that when you understand your perspective, right? We talked about understanding other people's perspective. That opens a whole load of doors that tend to stay locked shut, right? Probably out of self-preservation if we're want to get really deep and really honest, right? Sometimes we don't want to enter into hard conversations or conflict out of that core fear, right? That we have of either being trapped or being unloved or unwanted or being vulnerable, just to name a few. But, sometimes when all the time, when you understand your core motivations, you can start to understand why you make decisions. And then you can actually it just opens up this self-awareness. So you can know the difference between this story in my head is a lie, and this story in my head is a truth, right? So I know we kind of finally connected when I sent you a voice message after I took my certification and passed, because I kid you not, every time I opened up anything on my phone, you were speaking confidence in my face. And I was like, okay, I just have to go do this. And I didn't even realize that the story that had been holding me back was the story that I am not good at taking tests. And so even though I really felt confident that I knew the Enneagram in and out, and I have been coaching people for years, I know how to work with people, I know how to lead people, I know how to coach people, I still had it in my head that I'm not going to pay to take this test right now. It's not in the budget because I'm going to fail, because I am not ready, because I'm not good at taking tests. And it really wasn't until after I took the test and passed it with a freaking 94. I've never gotten a 94 on a test before in my life.
That's amazing.
It was amazing, but it was just this story. It was an example, right? Of this false story has been holding me back. The story of I'm not good at taking tests. I'm not a good test taker. I'm going to fail before I pass. That I had no idea the power that was holding over me, until I took it and I did it. And I kid you not, it is this weight I didn't even know I was carrying around forever is gone, and it's just, I mean, I don't want to be cloud nine, but I mean, it's clarity, this fog, this self-doubt, this, lack of confidence, and this false story, is gone. And, understanding why that, so as a type 7, my biggest fear is being trapped in negative space. So negative emotions, bad situations, negativity, I don't, my natural instinct is to avoid negativity. And that can mean avoiding hard things. That can mean avoiding situations where I think I might fail. It can, pessimist. I really have to be intentional about working hard and engaging in, confrontation and conflict, because not all conflict is bad. Not all confrontation is bad. It can actually be really amazing. But when you're afraid of it, it makes a big difference. And so understanding that about myself, right? Understanding that about myself, it allows me an opportunity to change the conversation of, it's not a negative situation. It's an opportunity for growth. And, even though I'm the positivity person, I'm the cheerleader, I'm the encourager, when somebody needs pumped up, those are the voice messages. Hey, can you pump me up about this? I am good at that, right? I'm good at that.
Yeah.
But when it's let's have a really complicated, difficult, potentially upsetting conversation, that is something that, I would avoid. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why I would do that. But now, because I understand more about that, and more about that is something that my body tries to avoid as just a protection mechanism, right? I now know that it is safe to involve myself in that. And I now know that it is safe, and it's not just safe, but it's actually going to be beneficial, and I'm going to grow through it. So the Enneagram, it's just, I mean, gosh, there's not there's not an aspect of your life that it couldn't benefit.
Yeah. I love I love your passion for this so much. Like it's so good. And I also appreciate that, you said like sharing, your holdup, right? The story that you were telling yourself, like you understand all of this. You've been studying forever. You've taken, like, the things, you've been coaching people. And I just appreciate, you sharing that story, because I think a lot of us, we look at people, especially on social media, and we're like, oh my gosh, they have it all together. Oh, she preaches confidence. She has all the confidence in the world and she never has any issues. Oh my gosh, she preaches Enneagram. So she knows herself so well and probably doesn't ever get stuck in the situations like I do. And then, we all put, again, the stories that we tell ourselves, and we put these people like us, like on up here saying like, oh, they teach this so they don't struggle. And so I just really appreciate you sharing that, because I don't know, maybe you wouldn't agree with me, but it's so much easier to coach other people than to coach yourself.
Oh, yes, I totally agree.
Right? Like I can tell you all the things to do. I can tell you all this stuff. I can tell you to say these things and do these things, but I also have to coach myself every single day, because we're humans and we all struggle with very similar things. So I just really appreciate, you sharing that. So you mentioned your the kiddos. Can Enneagrams be, other than like an adult understanding Enneagrams and being like, I think my child is this, is there like a test that, is this like kid approved, where there's like things where you can figure out what your kids are? Or is it because, developmentally you wait till they're older to like figure that out? Or how could people use this with their kids?
That's a really good question. So, I'm going to touch on the test really quick, because taking Enneagram tests or assessments, like they're really, it's a great place to start. But it is not definite. It is not definite. So, I always say, take the test as a springboard for like some self-discovery, because I have 2 test links that I always send out to people. And I say, take both of these, but know that they might be wrong.
But that's good to know.
It is good to know. I know, right? Because everyone's like, well, my test said I'm this. And I was like, okay. And like, what have you learned about it? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm just a 5, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't think you're really a 5,
Okay. Ignore my previous question. We'll get there eventually. Okay. So if I am starting out and I am committed, Kim, I am committed to understanding the Enneagram and applying it to my life. First step is I take your link, I take the quiz, figure out my numbers, right? I think I wish I should have done this before I got on this call with you. But I'm a 3 something. I believe I'm a 3 something.
Absolutely. Yes.
Sure. I don't even know what that means. And again, because I think so many of us, I've worked with so many different coaches, right? And not Enneagram coaches, but business coaches and things. Right. And they're always like, what's your Enneagram? And it's good for them to know like what my numbers are. But I just take the test and I'm like, here's my numbers. Cool. What if I decide I'm committed to this after I take the quiz, I get the numbers, you're telling me that this could be wrong and I'm not a 3, I could be a 5. So what do I do next?
So what's next? So the next step is, first step, take the quiz and take 2. I always say, take a couple of different ones. And there are so many out there, and there are so many free ones out there. Like you can pay for super comprehensive results. And if you want to do that, go for it. But I say take the free ones, just get the little like initial, it's going to give you your percentages. Most of them are going to give you like a pie chart or a bar graph or something to show you. And I say start with the top 3. So start with the top 3. And, so maybe it says, 8, 3, and 7 or something like that. Right. And you're like, oh my gosh. And so start with those 3 as opposed to like all 9 of them, right? So the first step is start diving in, and you can find all these resources for free on the internet, right? There are so many podcasts. There are, there's so much content on Instagram and, stuff like that. I do complimentary, little discovery sessions to see, if we can figure out what type you are. Yeah. And stuff like that. So, there's some good conversations that can be had, to help you really identify where you are on that number scale. But the second thing is you want to pay attention to the core motivations more than you do the traits and the characteristics, because the reality is we all have some of every Enneagram type in us, right?
Yeah.
We all have we all have some of everything in us. And as you dive deeper, you'll actually notice during times of stress, an Enneagram is going to, a 7, for example, I pull from a 1. Like I pull out their negative traits of a 1 when I'm in a season of stress. And I lean and I pull from the growth season or growth numbers of a 5 when I'm in a healthy space, right? When I'm in a growth pattern. So, it's like there's a lot of discovery that goes with it, but taking a test is going to give you a place to start, but it's not definitive. So, kind of dive into some of the information out there, but always start with those core motivations, the core fear, the core weakness, and the core message that you kind of are always longing to hear. And sometimes that's it's like an onion. Like sometimes it's buried a little bit deeper, right? Like when I first heard, mine about like being trapped and, a 7, like we are, kind of, it's kind of ingrained in us. Like we don't depend on anybody else, right? Like we take care of ourselves. We move forward, as a standalone, kind of a thing. And so like the core message that, a 7 wants to hear is that we can depend on other people. And the first time I heard that, I was like, nuh-uh, like I don't need to depend on anybody. And I was like, oh, oh, I get it now. So, that really digging deep and figuring out, what, again, with those stories, right? What is this story telling me? Because once you can identify that and kind of have those hard conversations with yourself or with a coach, it gives you a really great opportunity to make better choices that are healthier for yourself, healthier for your relationships, and just really help you step into confidence in what you are being called to do, because we do all have callings in our life. We all have things that we are built for, that we are, supposed to do and be impactful. And some of them are big and loud, and some of them are a lot of small, quiet moves, right? But it all matters. And if we are stuck in our, stuck in our like negative patterns or negative behaviors, or we don't know what is actually holding us back, like you can't ever show up effectively like that, right? So does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yes.
Does that help?
Yes. So yeah. So if anyone is listening, we're going to go take the 2 things. We're going to focus on the first 3, and then we're going to focus on our motivations, not the other stuff. And then when we've kind of dug in, we've researched on our own, and we're like, okay, next step, I really want to know more because I want to know how to like truly like understand myself and apply this to every aspect of my life. That's when then, is that what you find then? Is that's when people are starting to reach out to you like, hey, like this is cool, but now what? And they want that next step of like, help me use this to, I'm assuming, do you get a lot of business owners more that would probably want to work with you, or I'm sure it's everybody, but
it is super interesting. And I love something that's been so fun is taking the Enneagram and like learning how to use it for different people. So like I have I have high school teachers, I have high school sports coaches, that was what I'd never even thought about before. And she heard me speak at a leadership retreat last year on the Enneagram. And she's like, I want to take this. She coaches varsity volleyball. And she's like, I'm going to utilize this with my volleyball team. So she and I have talked, over the last 9 months or so about how she does that. But I mean, my gosh, like, business, leadership development is something I'm like so passionate about. So that is huge. But I mean, even talking with people right now who are like wanting to build their own confidence with like personal relationships, be like, whether it's, being the best parent that they can be, being a more aware spouse, that's a huge thing too. But yes, business, it's huge. Oh my gosh. There are so many, I mean, especially in entrepreneurship. Yeah, there's so many things, right, that can hold you back. And so I do have a lot of conversations with people who are like, I'm just stuck. Like, I'm just stuck and I don't know how to get out of it. And so even people who are brand new to the Enneagram, maybe they don't even know their type, right? I just did a 10 days of discovering the Enneagram, free group where, the goal was at the end of the 10 days, hopefully you will know your type and feel really confident about what your type is, right? So, I mean, I even had a ton of people in there who were like, they're interested in self-awareness, they're interested in growth, and they're just interested in being the healthiest version of themselves for themselves, but also for those that they love, right? Those that are around them. So I think that there's so many different avenues that, this can be impactful and beneficial for you. But at the end of the day, like if you're human and you want to grow, if you're feeling stuck, if you're not really sure what is holding you back, it's like the definition of insanity. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, maybe it's even the right thing, right? Like maybe you're even doing the right thing over and over and over again, but there is a brick wall in front of your face. Then my big question is, do you know what your Enneagram type is?
Yeah, because that's a go-to question for you, right?
Yes, it totally is. Do you know your type? I try not to be annoying with that in like normal people conversations.
Hey, I'm here for it. Right? So listen, okay, so you should start asking me that. Force me to know my number. I know it when I send it to people, but then I just stop. So we're not going to stop there. But again, it's one of those things where, if for people listening, if you're like me, right? Like I've done so many, personality tests and different things, and I know my colors and I know my, my love language, and it always just seems like something else, like to take and to know and to do. And it's like so much self-awareness. And then something else like the Enneagram comes and you're like, do I really need another one? But the Enneagram though, for me, what I've seen over several years is that it is like the one is what again, this is just my personal opinion, and maybe it's because I just follow people like you. But I just see it everywhere that it's like a consistent thing, and it feels like it goes probably a little bit deeper than a lot of the other ones actually do. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, because it is, there's so many that are personality types, and it's going to talk about your traits and your characteristics and your patterns and stuff. But like, do you know why you actually do those things? And sometimes people are like, oh, it's just who I am. Well, a little, but something
good start.
I know, right? It's like, yeah, good start. But it is so much deeper than that, it is. And what I like, my favorite example about the Enneagram is when I'm speaking with a group of people, we can even do it on a podcast. As I always say, I'm like, close your eyes and imagine the color blue, and it doesn't matter how many people you have in a room or how many people are listening right now. If you do this, everybody's going to have a different shade of blue in mind. Everyone, some are going to think, ocean blue, and even ocean blue, that can be 5 different shades of blue, Yeah. Sky blue, baby, turquoise blue, like so many different shades of blue. And, I say that, that's how the Enneagram works is, there can be a million people who are an Enneagram type 3. You guys are all different shades of blue. Your love language, your Myers-Briggs, your color, like all those different things, those are all like seasonings that are going to add in different flavors that make you, right? You guys share common motivations, but you share the same triad, right? You process things, through your heart. That's always my big question. If someone's like, I don't know what Enneagram type I am, I'm like, tell me how do you process information? That'll help us narrow it down, right? But if you're type 3, you process things through your heart first, through your feeling center first. So, you have those things in common, but your actions, your behaviors, your traits, your goals, the way that you do things, the way that you, your actions, all of those are different flavors. They're all different seasonings that make you uniquely you. So, it makes you, it's kind of this idea of like, you're in a box, but you don't know that you're in a box. We're living in a box, but you don't know. It's like the Truman Show. Did you see that movie?
I'm sorry, I have not. Now I feel like I have to go see it.
Oh my gosh, you kind of do. So just really quick, Jim Carrey, he's in a reality TV show for literally his whole life, but he doesn't know. But he has absolutely no idea. So everybody in there is playing a part of this show, and it's a 24/7 live stream. So every single person is an actor except for him, and he has absolutely no idea. And then, spoiler alert, but at the end of the movie, he figures it out, and he literally walks out into the ocean and busts out of this thing and goes into the world.
Wow. I feel like I would really love that movie.
It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've never used this example before. So yay. First time, but it's like the Truman Show. Like you don't know that you're in this box. And then all of a sudden the Enneagram brings in this light and it's like, oh my gosh, now I understand why I think this or why I feel like this or why I'm stuck here or why I continually make this cycle, and this, it equips you with the understanding and the knowledge and then the tools to actually, like, I think self-awareness is the biggest part. When you're aware of this bad behavior or these bad actions, or these things, not bad, but like things that are just not serving you, right?
Yeah.
Enneagram, it's like so non-judgmental. Like that's what I love about it, right? I'm always like, there's no shame here. Okay. There's no shame. Nobody's perfect. But like, there are things that are negatively impacting you in your life, right? And so it's not that it makes you a bad person when you do these things, but there's a reason why, right? Like there's a reason why you do those things. So when you're aware of it, it's like a rumple strip, like when you're driving and all of a sudden you can like hit those bumps on the road. It's like, la, 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 la. Like it's this wake up call where it's like, hey, you're veering off course. Like something's going on, figure it out.
I love that's such a good visual and like feeling. Like when I hit the bumps, it's time to be like, Enneagram, what do I need?
Right. Like I'm out of alignment. Something is bothering me. What is it? And then when you can figure out that there is something bothering you, it's almost always internal. Like it's always internal, right?
Yeah.
When you figure out what's bothering you, you can process through it. And what's so great is it doesn't have to take days, weeks, or hours even, but sometimes things that we're feeling, it just needs an acknowledgement. You know what I mean? Like it just needs like a 30-second, like, okay, I'm feeling this. Why am I feeling this? What's truth and what's not truth? Okay, now I can move on from it. Now I can get back on my path.
Yeah. And again, when you do that, when you're self-aware, when you understand the thoughts and the things and the actions that you're taking, and then you want to, like you said, now I can move through it. Now I can step into my power and now I can pursue the things that I'm passionate about. Now I can step into that confidence, right? So it's like getting through like the mud, the bumps, and like stepping out into the ocean like he did and being like, no, here I am. Right.
Yeah.
So I love that. It really is a tool to help. Again, I always go back to women because that's who's listening to us. Right?
Yes.
It helps women and men step into that confident, powerful version of themselves because they understand themselves. And for me, as a sociologist, that's all I do is I want to understand how society affects what we think and how we do, why we do what we do. And so I can just see this so much helping people really understand why the people, like you said before, like how the people in your lives, like why they operate the way that they do. And I think, for me, I always, I want to have empathy for everyone. I always try to be like, okay, step into their shoes. What are they going through? Why are they thinking this way? Why are they making those choices? Why do they feel that way? Right? Because I haven't experienced that. That doesn't make sense to me because I haven't gone through that. So I can see how the Enneagram then would be like, okay, let me look and see what this person is doing, the choices that they've made, all the things to understand where they're coming from a little bit more. Even if that person doesn't understand the Enneagram, I feel like it would be beneficial, right? For me to be able to look at them and be like, oh, that person is probably a 7 and that's why they think this way. And that's why I don't get that, or they get that and I don't get, so I just feel like I think that's so powerful. I love all of this so much. Okay. Are you ready for rapid fire questions?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I will give you a second at the end if there's anything that we missed for you to absolutely share that.
Okay.
So let's see, because I want to be respectful of time, because I could talk to you for like 3
I know.
4
I was
hours.
like, we could talk a lot longer about this.
Oh, for sure. So, okay, rapid fire. Hold on. Where are my questions at? Okay. When you open up social media, what are the main topics that you see all the time?
Ooh. Coffee content, and you actually.
Oh no, you make me sound like a creep.
No. Like I told you like a month ago, I was like, every time I open up social, you're like right there talking to me. I love it. It's great. Like, it's great.
All right. Danielle and coffee. I'm here for
Danielle
that.
and coffee. Yes, I know.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Your favorite, if you had one last meal, what is your favorite go-to meal?
Oh my gosh. Filet mignon. I love filet mignon.
Ooh.
Or like the melting pot. That's like I love the melting pot, and I love the filet mignon at the melting pot.
Greatest combination ever.
So good, right?
Oh, I love that. Okay. What is one movement exercise that you enjoy doing that makes you feel powerful?
Oh, I love Pure Barre. I love it. Yes. Yes. I feel like it's like the one like official like exercise like I've like been the most successful with that I just felt really, really good and really confident, doing it. And then with my giraffe legs afterwards, like that baby giraffe legs. Oh my gosh, let me walk down the stairs. Like
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay. What is one show that if you could only watch one show for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
Friends.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That is definitely one that anytime I just see on and I don't need to like focus on something, I just always turn it on. It's just a good background.
It absolutely is. Yes. I love it.
Who is one powerful woman that has inspired you in your life?
Ooh, that's a really good one. I will say, so the company that I've been with social selling, lemongrass spa products, I'll say the owner, Heidi Least, she's just an incredible human. Like she's just an incredible human. I have gotten to watch her over the last 11 years, like build this company from her basement into like a huge warehouse, and just watching like her grow and watching her navigate, growing a large scale, network marketing company, and getting to have like good personal conversations and a good relationship with her. Like, she's pretty powerful. I definitely, she's definitely an inspirational person, I would say.
Nice. I love it. What is one daily or consistent habit that helps you step more into your confidence and self-love?
Ooh, this is a good one. So I love the start today journal, is something that, I really got into, probably, I think I was pregnant with Asher actually when I was introduced to it, but it's just kind of a combination of, doing some daily gratitude, what are you grateful for? And then really writing down your intentions, like 10 years down the road. You know what I mean? Like what are your intentions in life? Not just like, not a to-do list, not like a checklist of here's my things I have to do today, but like, like big time goals, that you have. And instead of writing it out, like I will do this, it is, I am this, which I really, really love. So, I don't do it every day like I used to, but
it's a consistent thing in your life.
Yes, I know, but like it's always there. And even if the gratitude, I definitely do that. Like I use my phone, even the notes or something. I'm always like, it doesn't have to be ideal, right? Ideally, I would sit down quietly with a cup of coffee and like a candle, and it would be so nice and quiet. Like that is not my life. Like that is just not the season of life that I am in right now.
I love the honesty because I love seeing those things on social media, like take an hour for yourself. I'm like, that's great. My dogs are like running around, jumping around, barking. I don't have calm in the morning. Okay.
I know. It's like, I know what this means. Yes. I try and have a calm morning and my dogs are like running around like a tornado, hurricane or something behind me. And I'm like, stop.
I appreciate your honesty so much. Okay. What is one song that makes you feel powerful?
Oh, this is funny. Okay. So probably, it's on my brain right now. Is the Demi Lovato Confident?
Yes, I love it.
I love that. My daughter just picked that out as her new floor routine music. So it's just, it's everywhere all the time. So I love that. I also love Pink's Raise Your Glass. I love that. That's just like, that's a pump me up song for sure. Yeah,
that's a good one. That is such a good one. Okay. Let's finish here. If there was one powerful piece of advice that you could leave for your daughter, what would it be?
Man, that's a really good one. Be confident in yourself. I think do the inner work so that you can be confident in yourself. I'll say that.
Yeah. No, so good.
It's one thing to say, be confident, be confident, but like we have to equip people, how to be right,
Right. Yeah.
Equip people to be confident. And I think that totally starts, and I know you agree with this. It starts with doing the inner work. It starts with rewriting those stories and, growing as a human, because when you are self-aware and when you're growing and you're taking the time to kind of navigate through the hard stuff that you have told yourself or has been instilled in you, that's when you can really step out as a confident person and go do the things that you are meant to do and the things that are going to like set your heart on fire.
Yes, girl. Yes. So good. All right. Where can people find you and get to learn more about you and all the things? Where do you want them to hang out? Social media, website, whatever, share.
Yes. I am on social media. Eventually there will be like a website and all that fun stuff. But right now I just have fun on social. I'm a 7. I like to have fun. Social media is fun for me. So yes, I'm on Instagram. Actually, I have 2 different Instagram accounts. One is the Enneagram Enthusiast, and the other is the Enneagram Leader. I had mentioned, earlier, one of my like big projects is actually a leadership development through the Enneagram program that I'm going to be launching in 2024. So if you are specific, I know, I'm so excited. So excited. There's going to be swag boxes. I'm so pumped. I can't wait.
Me up.
I know, right? It's going to be great. Yeah. So my whole point there is, Enneagram education and leading with love, by utilizing the Enneagram tool. So, being your own best leader, right? Leading as your own genuine, authentic self. Because when you're trying to be somebody else, it's not going to work. Like it's not going to work when you're trying to be somebody else, right? You can duplicate strategies, but like you are your own unique person. And so when you can leverage that, right? Work in your strengths as a leader, that's amazing. So if you're into leadership, that is going to be a great space for you. If you are just into fun overall Enneagram, you just want to you want to just hang out. The Enneagram Enthusiast is going to be the Instagram account for you. And then of course, I'm just Kimberly Merritt on Facebook. So, come friend me. I'm doing a Barbie series, Enneagram couples funny right now. So yeah, it's fun. It's silly. It's casual. But yeah, I would love to connect with you on Facebook as well.
I love it. You are so fun. So I will make sure that all of those links and everything are in the show notes so people can just go click and find you. Any last words if we haven't covered anything or anything that you would love to leave for our friends who are listening before we say goodbye?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like we covered so much fun stuff. Yeah, so much fun stuff. If this is interesting to you, I do offer, complimentary just conversations, to see, like, if you're like, I wonder if the Enneagram could help me, there's no obligation. Like, I would love to just have a casual conversation with you. Just send me a message, DM through any of those social accounts, and we can chat about what it is. I do offer right now, like if the leadership is your thing, reach out and I can come and speak to your people. We can do a virtual Zoom, totally free. Like I'm just really passionate about sharing this amazing tool with people. And then of course, if you have super specific stuff, we can do one-on-one coaching, or I do have group coaching that launches about every 6 weeks. So lots of fun opportunities, lots of fun ways to kind of dive in and do some self-discovery.
Yes, we're all going to go take the test, look at the 3, do the things, reach out. It's so good. Your passion, Kim, just like oozes out, and your energy is it's just amazing. So anyone that follows you is like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. So yes, everyone go find Kim, hang out, get all the resources, do all the things. So Kim, thank you for stepping into your power, taking the exam, passing, and going and spreading this message, because it is so powerful when women and men are self-aware and they really step out. So you're making a huge impact, and I'm just so grateful to know you, to have you here. So thank you for being here. And we'll talk to everyone next time.
Yes, thanks for having me. This is so fun.
Yay, bye friends. I'll remind you at the end of every single episode, you do not owe the world pretty, but you do owe yourself to step into your personal power, because you, my friend, are a powerhouse woman. Go out and prove it to yourself.